Welcome to WatchJojo Cooking. Today we're going to be making traditional fish and chips. So we're going to be doing fresh cut fries with a beer-battered fish using Guinness, and we're going to pair it with some slaw and some tartar sauce. Very traditional. So slaw is comprised of cabbage and then other stuff to kind of give it flavor, and usually color is a big name of the game, which is why I'm going with red onion. There's two different ways to approach slaw. You can go the vinegar route and have it kind of break down in like that juiciness be your coleslaw, or you can go the cream route, and I'm kind of settling for a nice middle ground. I'm going to use just some Italian whatever dressing as my like primary flavor. I'm gonna use sour cream so I have the creaminess. After I make the product, I'm gonna see if it needs more acidity, and if so, I'm gonna use vinegar. And then for color, we've got our darker green in the form of jalapeno that I had a couple of extra of, so I'm trying something today. I'm gonna like mince that really small into there and give it a little bit of pop. You got red onion, that'll give it color, carrot, give it color and texture, and then of course finish up with salt and pepper, because salt and pepper brings it the flavor and everything. So, cabbage is halved. You've got this core. This is not very edible, so I'm gonna, on an angle, cut in on one side, the other, and it's still kind of connected, but now it rips out. So there's a little bit of loss there, but it's not crazy bad. As far as cutting cabbage, I would start on a slight angle, and you're trying to go as thin as possible. Once the height's gotten a little weird, I'll switch it up and I'll start cutting from an angle again. We've cut everything up, so now I'm going to try and split this up so I have an easier time mixing it. Get a good mix of both in there. So you got some onion, got some carrots and everything in all of them. So I'm going to start with a dollop of sour cream. And at this point we're basically working on seasoning, so make sure it's nice and shook up, because any vinaigrette will always settle to the bottom. And you want more than just oil. Any vinaigrette is always going to settle at the bottom, so always give it a shake. Make sure it's nice and evenly distributed before you start pouring it on anything. This here is like a zesty Italian. Basically I was looking for something with like a peppery, oniony feel. And also bonus points, it's got some red specks in it. Color makes food look awesome. So now, salt and pepper. Pretty heavy on the pepper, mostly just because I love pepper. And then a little less on salt, just enough to bring out the flavor. Boom. Time to get dirty. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna have like one mixing hand here, and then the other one I'm gonna leave relatively clean. To be able to turn on the faucet when I go to wash my hands, and also if I want to add more sour cream, I can just grab the spoon. We won't know if we need to add vinegar until I let this sit for like 20 minutes or so. Let the flavors all kind of get to know each other. Gonna make super quick tartar. We're not gonna be too fancy about this one. We're gonna go mayo in decent quantities. It's your bulk of your dish. There we go. Then we're gonna give ourselves some relish. A bit more, perfect. Just a little bit. Oh man. Shake it first. A little bit of yellow mustard. Something hot, you can use cayenne. I'm using Cajun seasoning here. Just give it a bit of a pow. Along with, of course, everything. Need some salt. Need some pepper. And we'll just mix that together real quick. Tartar sauce, sweet. Yeah, tartar sauce is like definitely like a fishy sauce. Core flavors here being your mayo, like that creaminess, paired with the sharpness of relish. You could use fresh pickle, like you could shred pickles on like a grater. That would also be a route you could go. But I already had all these materials, so use what you got, you know? Don't go, if you got relish, don't go buy pickles. If you have pickles, don't go buy relish. Work with what you have. If you use pickles, I'd use like a splash of vinegar to help split it. There's 101 different recipes online I'm sure you can find. Now we can go on to batter. So you're gonna need 2 bowls. One is your flour, just to put on your fish. And then the other one, just crack an egg in there. Let's add some beer. Give it a quick pour. Let's start with about half the can. See how much batter we need. Flour. If you have some baking soda, you can add a bit of baking soda, and that will make it rise, make it a little more puffy. So this is very thick. Now we'll add our cold water. Until it's not the thickest thing on the planet anymore. You can see all these chunks. We're gonna get rid of all those. You can see the nice color. That's from the Guinness. Thickness, it's creamy. Also from the Guinness. I overshot the water just by a pinch, so just a pinch more flour. You're basically just looking for the right texture. There's not a right number. So at this point, I'm going over the chunkiness is more or less gone. Like there's still a bit at the bottom I'm gonna try and beat out. But like that chunkiness is more or less gone. And it's sticky, but like reasonably runny. So what it will do is the moisture from the fish is going to make the flour stick to it. So then you're going to be covered in flour. Then the flour is going to make this batter like stick to the fish, because it will adhere to the batter because it's trying to, the flour will take on all that moisture and it will just stick together. And then from the batter straight to the fryer. You could, in theory, if you want a crispier fish, go flour, batter, flour, but we're gonna go just the two-step process. So let's open up some fishies. I just brought some nice little vacuum sealed haddock. Any white fish will do. I put it in the 170 range, so like 340-ish, maybe 75-ish. You want some good heat, but you don't want to like crank it. So if you're doing multiple batches, I recommend having a dry hand and a wet hand, and your whisk not in your batter. So I'm gonna go dry hand, wet hand. And just go until this guy is almost like it feels dry. Give it a shake, get rid of that excess, drop it in here, sink it, grab it, and now with your dry hand, you actually want to have your basket down for this. You want to slowly put down your fish while dragging it across the bottom so that actually cooks. Be careful, the sides of the fryer are hot. So this is pretty heavy, so I'm gonna have to be careful that it doesn't stick to the basket. My goal by dragging it across is that the outside layer of the batter will start cooking immediately and become crispy enough that it will be its own hard surface and not want to adhere to my basket. So next up, I'm gonna grab some tongs after we'll wash my hands. So I was able to shift this off. It was gonna stick. So once you feel like it's got a bit of structural integrity, you can move it. This is just gonna be an extra piece of just batter hanging around. Get off there, you guy. Cool. So now, it's just a waiting game. We're looking for a golden brown color. My assumption, this is gonna take about 5 minutes. At this temperature, it might take longer. But if you're cooking home, set a timer for 5 minutes and see how that goes. If I burn it, your oil was too hot. I'm gonna actually just cook my fries at the same time because I'm doing such a small batch. Ideally, you wanna cook your fries first and then immediately move on to your fish if you only have one fryer to work with. But on the basis I'm only making a single serving at the very moment, I can afford to cook everything at the same time. So our fries are done, nice and brown and crispy. Take them out, shake them off, get them on that plate. Sorry. If you have a bowl handy, you can put it in the bowl first and then toss it. I'm just gonna season with a sprinkle here. So I'll just hit it from on up high. There. Happy. Next up, the fish. Still pretty firm. But you can see that golden brown color. That's what we're looking for. So we're gonna break into this guy for the plating and it should be done because our fish was defrosted. It's worth noting that if you can cook frozen fish, which you can go frozen fish batter and flour batter in a fryer, you're gonna need to cook it long. You're probably gonna want a thermometer, make sure it hits like 155 or so. Make sure that like it's fully cooked and it's not frozen, because it would be awful if you go and you have this beautiful looking fish and then they cut into it and enjoy your ice. Sounds awful. Cool. Let's get the rest of this guy plated out. Yesterday, when I cut my fries, because this is a 2-day prep video, I did 2 different slaw batches. I did one with no vinegar, just like all my other ingredients. One with just literally just a splash, like 2 ounces of vinegar maybe. This one, you can see the liquid, it's broken down substantially more, which is cool. And it actually has a really sharp flavor, and the texture is a little smoother as well. So I'm gonna use this one, I like it more. So we're gonna add some of that. Boom. And of course, we have our tartar. And there you have it. Traditional fish and chips. Bon appetit. This is definitely one of those dishes where you can't just impulse make it. This requires like the extra day of prep to do your fries. Using fresh cut fries makes a ton of difference. The fish don't have to be too picky as long as it's a white fish. Like you don't want to be using salmon or something. You can pair with slaw, you can pair with your tartar sauce. Having something sharp to pair with it is, I find, very nice. And yeah, you can't beat an old classic. It's a classic for a reason. Thank you for watching WatchJojo Cooking.